This morning, most of America's high schoolers were off to a school where satanic worship takes place. While you were going about your day, scores of children tried
The Red Podcast
for the first time.
This is The Red Podcast. Here's your host, David Hooper.
David Hooper, Red Podcast here. I've got an important message for introverts and also extroverts. I want you to think about this. There are a lot of noisy people in the business world. These are the people who are great at playing the game of business, and because they're great at playing the game, they often have a high degree of visibility. But if you're a quiet person, you don't play that game, at least not in the same way. It's easy to think that you're going to get left behind. But from my experience, it's the quiet people who are the foundation that the loud people build upon. See, the loud folks get the credit, or they take the credit. But it's the quiet ones who are the backbone. They're the ones with their heads down that are keeping things moving forward. I don't think there's a better example of this than Malcolm Young of AC/DC. Even if you're not a fan of this band, you've heard them. If you go to YouTube and you watch some videos of AC/DC performing live, Malcolm Young is always to the back left of the stage. He doesn't move around. He doesn't talk to the audience or otherwise interact with them. He's back there the entire show. And if you didn't know much about AC/DC, you would think that he's easily replaceable. And that's exactly what happened. About 3 years ago, Malcolm Young got sick. The band decided to replace him, but he wasn't easily replaceable. In fact, if you see AC/DC today without Malcolm Young, it's as if he's still in the band. And the reason for that is because Malcolm Young is responsible for the band's sound. The guy who replaced him didn't bring anything new. He's copying Malcolm Young. Malcolm Young died today, but his music, regardless of who's in AC/DC now, who's playing rhythm guitar, who's in that back left position, that lives on. It was Malcolm who came up with the riffs that made AC/DC one of the top-selling musical acts of all time. He's the guy who wrote the songs. He produced the albums. Without his contribution, this band wouldn't exist. Here's the big idea. What outsiders think doesn't matter. Your business, what's happening on the inside, is completely different from what people see on the outside. But it doesn't matter what those outsiders think. The only opinions that matter are those of the people who are on the inside. And the people on the inside, they know who's doing the work. So if you're one of the quiet ones, don't worry. Thunder without lightning is just noise. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Red Podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe now with your iPhone, Android, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.